Welcome to Bump Set Chat, the podcast where volleyball professionals come on and share their stories, experiences, and advice. Today, I am super excited. I have Tim McIntosh. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so
Pleasure
glad
to be here.
I'm very happy you're able to hop on and appreciate you taking the time. So the way we get things started is we do 3 random questions. So are you ready?
Okay.
Favorite time of the year?
I would say fall.
Okay. Most interesting place you've played a match in?
Interesting place. I would say in Istanbul, Turkey.
All right. And if you could have dinner with 2 celebrities, who are you picking?
Tori Kelly and John Legend.
All right, there we go. All right, well, hey, welcome to the podcast. So first of all, let's find out, who do you play for professionally?
I just finished 2 seasons in Innsbruck, Austria, playing for Hippo Tirol.
Excellent. And how was the season?
Yes. It was fantastic. We went back-to-back championships this past season, which was great. We also won our Super Cup. Unfortunately, we got knocked out of the Austrian Cup match in the semifinal to a team that we ended up sweeping in the final series.
Oh,
So
wow.
I guess we got a little bit of revenge on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so where are you from originally?
I'm from Miami, Florida.
Okay. And now, how did you end up discovering volleyball?
Well, so I picked up volleyballs relatively late. I was 18. My sister was 14, and she was just getting into volleyball. So yeah, just through watching her play and watching her practice, I kind of wanted to get a little bit involved with my sister, especially after losing our father, who was like her biggest cheerleader. Um, I took the initiative to try and get out in the yard with her and pepper with her and hit at her. And I found myself falling in love with the game as well. And one day, in one of her club practices, her coaches had approached me asking me if I had played or had any sort of experience in the volleyball world. And of course, I had not. So they ended up getting me involved with my former club, MVP Academy, out in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And the rest is pretty much history. I started playing then and
Wow.
spent one year in club in the summer, in the winter and in the summer, and then I was off to play in college.
Holy cow. And what sports were you playing prior to this? Or was this like your first jump into sports?
Yeah, no, I was a multi-sport athlete growing up. I played football, soccer, tennis. I ran track as well, so I was pretty well versed in
Excellent.
athletics, I guess.
Yeah. Oh wow! And now, where does boys volleyball rank in Florida? Like indoor, I know beach is popular, but indoor.
Yeah, indoor volleyball for boys is not a very popular sport. I know nowadays it is, but back in 2016, when I was just getting out of school, it wasn't very popular, and not many schools had a boys volleyball
Yeah.
program.
Oh wow! And now, what is the hook volleyball has on you that years later you're still loving it and playing it and excelling at it?
I don't know, just the team aspect, being able to work toward a common goal has um, been a really cool experience getting to do that with a group of guys that is very similar minded as you. So I don't know. I guess that team aspect is what's really hooked me.
Yeah. And then after high school, you said you played in college. What college did you play for?
Yep. So I got recruited to play at Alderson Broaddus University originally. It's a small Division I, Division II school in West Virginia. It's now closed, but I was able to transfer from Alderson Broaddus to Sacred Heart University in Connecticut, and then play my last 3 seasons there.
Oh wow, excellent! And how was the whole Connecticut experience at Sacred Heart?
I loved it. I loved it. I mean, the volleyball wasn't great, but we were competing in a really good conference in the EIVA with Penn State, George Mason, Princeton, NJIT, and all those guys. So the volleyball was at a level where I was able to thrive, I think.
Yeah. And did you how big of a jump was coming from club and now you're playing against Penn State and at that level of D1 volleyball?
That was pretty difficult, but I feel like the way that I was training at Alderson Broaddus University really prepared me to jump into that next little
Yeah.
jump in skill set.
All right. And then after college, was pro, on the roadmap, or how did that all come together?
Yeah, so my last year at Alderson Broaddus, I made up in my mind that this is something I wanted to pursue, especially if I wanted to play at a higher level of volleyball in Division One play. I had made up in my mind like I think I want to pursue this professional volleyball thing because in 2016 I had also watched our men's national team play at the junior national tournament in Dallas, Texas. Um, and watching them, I learned a little bit more about what they do year round. And I had decided I wanted to try and play for the national team. I wanted to try and go pro. So yeah, it was inevitable, I
Yeah.
think,
Oh, wow.
at that
And
point in
how was your
time.
first year pro? Where did you play?
Yeah, so I played my first year pro at Innsbruck for Hippo Tirol. That was a fantastic season for us. We won just about everything you could win in a professional season for the league. Um, I wasn't really sure what we were going to get my first year pro just because you hear all these horror stories about people having terrible experiences being on not so great teams, but my club had done a really good job at recruiting players that were going to get in together and work really well together right away. And that's exactly what we did. And I made some really great friends who I still keep in contact with. We spent 2 seasons together, which was really great. And not many people get to say that about a professional team. So I feel like I was very blessed and very fortunate to have that as my first experience abroad.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk about a beautiful part of the world too to play in.
Absolutely. Innsbruck is gorgeous, especially in the winter time.
Yeah.
The mountains get covered in snow and they have their Christmas markets and everything it's just really great.
Yeah, compared to where I was talking to Micah in the fall, and we did a call from when he was traveling. He was in a hotel in Siberia. I was like, Siberia, Innisbrook. I think I'd take the Innisbrook route there.
Absolutely.
And how was that first year? Was there a lot of an adjustment? New country, all of everything, sort of. How did that go?
Yeah, I feel like I adapted pretty well. The language barrier wasn't really difficult because my coaches and all of my teammates spoke English, so that was great. Adjusting to the level of play, professional volleyball is a lot faster than college volleyball, and the players are much more consistent and can do things much more consistently. So having to deal with that was a little difficult for me just because I'm surrounded by guys who have been playing professionally for a good amount of their lives. And me just jumping into it, you know, mentally that's a little bit difficult just
Hmm.
because maybe I wasn't as consistent as I needed to be at the time. But growing alongside my teammates, they really helped me mentally get through a lot of the ruts that come with professional volleyball.
Yeah, nice. And now knowing what you know now, if you could go back to that, rookie Tim and give him some advice, what would that be?
Give yourself grace because you're in a new position, or not in a new position, but you're in a new place in life where you're in a completely different country surrounded by completely new people. Give yourself grace, give yourself room to mess up and say the wrong thing, and just have fun with it and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, nice. And now, what is the typical season for those? For those people who may listen to podcasts and not realize that there is a professional league for men out there, and
Yeah.
what's your season look like?
So we typically will start preseason in August, so everybody will report to their respective countries in August. Have a preseason from August to about September, late September, playing in friendly matches, a bunch of training, a bunch of weight lifting as well. And then during the season, your season will typically be from October to May, and that will be filled with your competition of league play and any other international tournaments that you may play in. And then a finals for your league will be from about April to March,
Oh, wow.
and then you'll be done from the beginning of May
Yeah,
to
so
the
that's a long
summertime.
season.
Yeah, about 8 months.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's yeah, that's a long road to be playing.
Yeah.
And now, looking back on what's been sort of some of the highlights since jumping overseas and playing.
Um, I would say playing in my first Champions League match or Champions League tournament, per se. We played in Innsbruck to host the first week of Champions League. We made it out of the first round of play-in, and then played our second round in Belgrade, Serbia, which was really cool. And then getting to travel to Turkey to Istanbul to play in the CEV Cup match against Fenerbahce. Another highlight, we beat Fenerbahce at our place in 5 sets, which was really cool. And then getting to travel to Istanbul to play them was a highlight for me.
Excellent. And now, going from, this side of the pond over there, did you notice a different style of play? And just to sort of give you a reference, like I had Chaz Galloway on from UH, and he was
Mhm.
talking about when they did they did an exhibition tour over in Japan. When they played the Japanese teams, it wasn't all ground and pound like we're used to seeing out of a college game here. It was
Yeah.
really a really different style of play. Did you notice differences playing overseas versus, where we came from in college?
Yeah, like I said, a lot of the professional players that are playing overseas in these leagues have been playing for so much of their lives, so they have a different touch, an innate touch almost, where it's just automatic for some of these guys. And some of the finesse shots that they have, it's really cool to see and a little bit different than what we see here in the States, where it's a lot of just hit the piss out of the ball and
Yeah.
hope for the best and bomb serves, stuff like that.
All right.
So
And now, if any college players are thinking about playing overseas, what kind of advice would you have for them?
I would say do it. You're only young for so long, and I feel like professional volleyball is a great way to see the world and do it while playing volleyball at a high level. So if you can get the opportunity to do that, then for sure take that opportunity.
All right. Oh, something we didn't even talk about. What position do you play?
Oh, I'm a libero.
And is that,
Yep.
is that what you started off and you just, that was your position all the way?
Actually, no. So I started in club. I was a outside hitter, an opposite, and a middle. I finished my career at middle, playing 6 rotations. Fun fact.
Oh, wow.
And then when I was recruited to college, I was recruited as an outside hitter. And then into my first semester, I made the move from outside hitter to libero.
All right. So somebody who's played all the position, for most of those positions except for setter, or did you play setter too?
No, I was not a
Okay.
setter.
What is, so out of the, those, positions you've played, what's the most rewarding thing that happens when playing? Is it, dropping it, digging up that wicked, serve or getting the block or, pounding, around a 2 or 3 man block?
For me, the most rewarding is diming a bomb serve,
Yeah.
just because that not only takes some momentum away from the other team for me in my eyes, but it's also setting my team up for a nice little side out there.
Yeah.
So
Excellent. And now, do you have any pregame rituals? Do you take a nap, listen to certain music, meditate? What's your thing?
hmm, I don't typically have a pregame ritual. I'm not a napper. I don't like to nap before matches, just because I feel like whenever I nap, I feel groggy afterwards. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I will. I do have a playlist, sort of a lot of music that will just put me in a good mindset, and then pre-match, I'll say a prayer, and then I'm off to the match.
Excellent. And what shoes are you playing in these days for those shoe
I'm
junkies out
playing
there?
in the Mizuno, the Wave Momentum 3 Mizunos.
Oh, how do you like them?
I like them a lot. They're very comfortable. They come in some pretty cool colors. So I can't
Excellent.
complain about those.
All
And I'm
right.
also working with Mizuno, so that's even better.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
And now, so right now you're at Team USA practicing with the team out there. How did you get on the
Yeah.
radar? What was that whole process?
So I had originally tried out for one of the national teams in 2018. I didn't make the cut then, but I went back to the second tryout, but that tryout got canceled. So from that, I kind of stayed in contact with the men's national team staff. For liberos that are foreign,
Yeah.
it's really difficult to find contracts. So I found my first contract, and that was pretty, I guess, eye-opening for the coaching staff because it's very rare for for a foreign libero to find a contract, especially not being in the national team gym, not having any pro experience prior. So um, getting that initial contract, I was able to get my foot in the door with the national team. I got a tryout with the national team again, and I ended up making a cut, I guess. They invited me out to train for the Pan American Cup team 2 summers ago. I did not make that Pan Am, so I went overseas, still not having any national team playing experience, but I was in the gym training with the big guys and training for Pan Ams as well. And then after my first season abroad, I got invited back and I made the Pan American Cup team the second time around. And then I was invited to go to Norceca with the guys where we won a gold medal last summer, which is really cool. And yeah, it's
Excellent.
been a it's been a pretty cool journey with the national team so far.
So now, what was it like donning on, the red, white, and blue jersey?
It was a surreal experience because I had seen these guys um, playing volleyball at such a high level for a long time. I've been trying to break into the gym and finally being given my opportunity. It feels like my hard work has finally paid off. And then um, having my grandfather had served in our country, it's really a privilege being able to don the red, white, and blue.
That's amazing. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool. And now, where were you when you got the word that, hey, you're in? Do you
So
remember that moment?
I do. I remember I was warming up on the bike, getting ready for one of our trainings for the Pan Am group, and John Sproul walked over to me. He's like, "Hey, you're going to Norceca." It was that quick and simple conversation. It took me about 2 hours for it to sink in. I was very caught off guard because I wasn't expecting to go, and then they gave me the nod, and yeah, it was a very surreal experience.
Oh, that's fantastic. And now, sir, so currently you guys are all training and prepping for the VNLs. How's that going?
It's going well. I'm not on the VNL roster, but I am a pretty big support guy for the guys here. I'm hopping into drills when they need me. I'm playing in our scrimmages when they need me. Kyle D'Agostino's not in the gym at the moment because he's in Turkey for the first week of VNL, so it's just me and Eric. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a really good summer though thus far, being able to support these guys and help them get ready for the VNL and eventually for the Olympic tournament.
Nice. And now, what's a typical day like for you guys out there?
Okay, so we will have team meeting at about 8:15 to go over some things, some technical things that the staff may have seen in video, and then we'll have about 45 to an hour to get ready for training. Then we'll get into training. Then that'll be from about 9 to 11:30. And then on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, we'll have a lift directly after practice. And then we'll get lunch and then we'll be done for the rest of the day.
All right. And now, experiencing sort of both sides of the pond, training with the pro team and now training with the national team, anything that is like, holy cow, I didn't know we did it that way, or the analytics is night and day.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit a mixture of both. Overseas, you don't, I don't want to say you don't have a system of play, but um, the system of play is very loose and it gives you opportunity to um, read a little bit more. Whereas with the national team here, we have our system. When we're here, we're here. When we're doing this, we're doing this. And there's not, I don't want to say there's no room to make your own read, but it's very scripted.
Yeah.
And we play our system because our staff has looked at the numbers, looked at the odds, and where the ball will be hit, attacked, or will be served, and we play those odds because that happens at a higher probability.
Yeah.
So we play our system, it works, so we do it. Whereas overseas, the system is very loose, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And now you seem like you got a great group of characters out there. Who are like with Taylor and Eric, who are the sort of the jokers, who's like, oh, okay, get ready for this because he's going to do something to crack that tension.
Garrett Muagatatia.
Okay.
He's our resident jokester, I think. Yeah, he's good at cutting the tension and kind of resetting the team when things aren't going great. So
All right,
he's
excellent.
definitely great to have as a little tension reliever.
Yeah. And now, how we got connected was a mutual acquaintance. Jacob Pasteur was
Yeah.
on, and
Yeah.
end of the pod, I said, "Hey, who should I get on?" And he called out you, and he said, "You got to get him on." And so I was just texting with him this morning, and I asked him for a question. He said to ask you, who was the baseball player that was at practice this week?
Baseball players. Well, I'm assuming he would be talking about me. So I have a twin brother who is playing baseball professionally as well.
Okay.
He's playing in the minor leagues at the moment. So yeah, I
Oh,
would I would assume that. Oh, wait a minute. No. So it's an inside joke.
okay. All right.
So one of our teammates, his name is JR. He came into training this week in a sweater that was very reminiscent of an old Dodgers jersey, and he looked like Jackie Robinson.
Okay.
So we made the joke about him looking like Jackie Robinson this week. I'm glad I connected the dots there.
Okay, good. But now you got a twin brother that plays baseball too?
I do have a twin brother. He's playing for the Blue Wahoos out in Pensacola. He's under the Marlins
Yeah.
organization.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I got some questions from you from a few different people. So first of all, it looks like, another common connection we have is, I understand you coached at Northeast Volleyball Club or part of
I
it?
did. Yeah.
Yeah. So my daughter went to a camp where they met Maggie Carley's sister, who played at
Okay.
Northeast Volleyball Club. And
Yeah.
so, Maggie has also been on the pod here talking about her journey at UConn, and she had a
Oh,
couple of
that's awesome.
questions.
Okay.
So she wants to know, what was your most favorite drill that you ran back at Northeast Volleyball Club?
Oh, I would say I love the pit drills that I used to run with the girls.
Yeah.
A lot of those girls are fearless defenders, and I feel like the club's doing a really good job at instilling that in their girls.
Yeah.
So that was definitely my favorite.
All right. And the next question she had, what's it like to play with Eric Shoji?
Man, it's a very humbling thing because Eric is so good at just about all aspects of his game. Um, for me, playing alongside him, it's teaching me a lot, giving me a lot of ideas and a lot of eye-opening things to get me better at my technique. So
All right.
it's a very, very cool and very humbling thing to be able to play alongside Eric.
Excellent. All right. And she has one more question. So she wants to know, so
Okay.
you're known to be a scrappy player and with
Mhm.
insane anticipation. How did you hone those skills?
I think part of honing those skills is just doing them. Um, you know, doing them and watching video. So I watched a lot of video of like defenders like Morgan Hent and Jenya Grebenikov and Eric, of course, and trying to put myself in their position, trying to see what they're seeing, and then try to implement that to my game whenever I'm um, anticipating an attack. So I'm looking at hitter tendencies. I'm looking at what their shoulders doing, what their hands doing, and then trying to piece that together to create this picture in my head where I know that that ball is going
Yeah.
in a particular direction. Like I can't get it wrong.
Yeah. So, what is the best feedback or coaching you've received when it came to serve receive
Hmm.
or positioning, hand positioning?
Yeah, I would say for reception, I would say get your eyes on the server very quickly. If you can see what their shoulder's doing, you can kind of sort of anticipate where they're going to attack the ball into the court. And then, yeah,
All
just
right.
track that ball early.
Okay. And yeah, with volleyball being, a physical demanding sport, there's also a huge mental side of it as well. How do what are some things you do to keep, to keep focus or, keep a clear mind?
Yeah. I like to focus on my breath a lot, especially when I find that my mind is starting to wander. I like to take a nice deep breath, try and reflect on what just happened, and then have the memory of a goldfish, and so we can move forward
Yep.
and get centered back into the next play.
Excellent. All right. So now here's a fun question. So I had Eric on pod a few months ago, and him and Taylor have this thing that what's the most demanding position in volleyball. So now I have that for somebody who's played multiple roles, did the 6 position rotation.
Mhm.
What do you think is the most physically demanding position in volleyball, and then what is the most mentally demanding position?
Physically demanding, I would say middle blocker, just because they have to do so much. They always have to be up in transition. They're moving pin to pin. So physically demanding middle blocker. And then mentally demanding, I would say setter,
Yeah.
because you are the quarterback of your team. And if you're not setting your team well, then it's on you. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of mental pressure. So
All right.
definitely setter, I think.
Excellent. And now, in your opinion, what does the U.S. need to do, or how do we make the men's volleyball game more popular stateside?
Hmm. That's a good question. I feel like people just need to see men's volleyball, because it's not like we're exposing a lot of people to it in general, you know.
Hmm.
Women's volleyball is huge, and if we can sort of piggyback off of them and try to get more eyes on men's volleyball, people would be very interested in it, you know.
Yeah.
We're a very dynamic sport, and I feel like people will enjoy the physicality that men's volleyball brings to the table.
Yep. Absolutely. And now, away from the court, what do you enjoy to do? What are some of your things?
I like to journal a lot. I like to get out in nature and experience the world. I like to travel outside of volleyball. Um, and I also like to sing.
Yes, I saw the video of
Yeah.
you in a hallway or a stairwell singing a Christmas song. What a fantastic voice.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now,
Thank
are
you.
you
Thank
the
you.
guy when karaoke happens, you're up there?
So I don't like to be the guy, but people like to make me the guy, so I'm typically the guy. But yeah, that's something I definitely do enjoy
Oh, excellent.
for sure.
Awesome. Well, Tim, you survived the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time. But, with past guests, I got to ask, who in your circle do you think would have a great story to come on and share?
Hmm. I would say Artie Cods.
Okay.
He's a volleyball player from Connecticut as well. He's from Newtown. Um, and I think he has a pretty good story to tell.
All right, there we go. Well, hey, Tim, thank you so much. And, good luck rest of this summer and next season.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, she's a beauty.